welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be trying out these soft pastels from Earthberry. I know I've been featuring a lot of soft pastels in my channel because I've been really loving the medium and I've been really excited to try these ones. These are probably the most gorgeous set of colors that I've seen from a single set. So they sent me this set to try out and share my thoughts with you guys. And for this video, I made an artwork that I wanted to share with you too. But first, I wanted to talk about Earthberry as a brand. They are a family-run business and they make these handcrafted, eco-friendly soft pastels. The colors speak for themselves. They look amazing. But outside of that, they also have a lot of other unique features that I wanted to talk about as well. First thing I wanted to bring out is the packaging because it just makes me so happy. The pastels come in an organic packaging. They're all fully recyclable cardboard. And what makes me so happy to see is the fibers that they use to protect the pastels. I think Filipinos recognize it right away. It's coconut fiber. And we used it a lot in the Philippines. So it's really cool to see it used very practically in art supplies. Side of it being really endearing, it just holds a lot of cushion, so I know these are well protected in their box. And just the look of everything, it's all beautifully packed. The presentation is just super aesthetic to me. It has very natural colors and it's also really practical. Another detail that I love to see is that each pastel shade is named after a plant species, and on the inside of the box there's a little botanical illustration that goes with it. So I love it when specialized colored sets like this have unique names because I think it goes so well with the convenience colors that they have. I think it's just a really nice touch, and especially if you're someone who gets inspired by nature or color stories, just gives you that earthy and organic feeling before you've even touched the pastels. So the one thing that would stand out to me was the color selection. They sent me the Luminous Path and the Rustic Landscape sets. So they sent me two, and the smaller of the sets is called the Rustic Landscape. And while I do want to try this out, for this review, I will only be using the 18 color set called the Luminous Path. So I will show you guys a sample artwork that I made with this set, and as usual, I will be linking all of my reference photos in one Pinterest board, which I will have it linked in the description. So the very first thing that I wanted to talk about is the blendability and workability of these pastels. I think that now that I have tried at least 2 other artist quality pastel sets, I will have more of a refined opinion that I had before. So I'll just start by comparing these to both of the sets that I have and love. So when it comes to precision, getting precise shapes and lines out of them, I think that these are better than the Paul Rubens, and that one out of the other 2 sets that I have is the better of the 2. So this would be the best at getting those more sharp, precise details. But I think a lot of that just has to do with the shape of these pastels. These are rectangular, and so they have more sharp edges that you can work with to get those smaller lines. Outside of that, they actually feel very similar to the Paul Rubens when it comes to the integrity of the pastels and how they hold their shape. Blendability too is very similar to the Paul Rubens. I would say that the ARRTX blend easier, but they also have a powdery feel to them that I sort of dislike. So when you're touching it, it's almost like when you're holding baby powder, and blending them out is almost too easy that they just to move outside of the shapes that you want them to. So I think that this is the best out of the 3 when it comes to blendability too. I will say though that blendability and soft pastels sort of just go hand in hand. I think it goes with the medium that it will blend well. I have tried some very cheap student quality soft pastels and the colors have blended smoothly like this. For this review, I'm just being very nitpicky and just letting you guys know that I do feel this is slightly better, but I don't think it's enough to justify their price yet. So I think it will be the other qualities that it has that, when combined with the integrity and the blendability of the pastels, that I think will make them worth it. And I will talk more about them later too. So the next thing that I want to talk about, and I think visually is the most unique thing about them, is the color selection. And for that, I wanted to give a little bit of a background on the brand. So they are family owned, and the matriarch of the family was a chemist and a biologist who spent most of her free time painting and being inspired by nature. So I think when looking at the sets, that's what really stands out, and you can really see that just by looking at the pastels, that an artist was behind making them, especially in the colors and how every set has been curated. You can really tell that it was made by an artist who had very specific colors that they wanted over the years of making art, and then not finding them and just deciding to make them herself. So I think that's why these colors are so special. And even if it's just a set that I'm reviewing, on the website, this one was described as a universal set, but these are probably the best collection of 18 colors that you can get, especially for portraits. I have said that about the Paul Rubens before, and I do feel that way still when it comes to more realistic portraits. I just think that this one has more exciting colors than the Paul Rubens did. I think that one has more of a realistic color scheme than this one. I think there are more exciting colors to choose from here. So the lighter colors are gorgeous base for skin tones, and you can see while I do use those for the highlights, I think what's the most amazing about them are the cool light colors like the pastel lavenders, and there's also some very minty whites that are in the same value range as the light skin colors. I just really am excited that they decided to give us these exciting lighter colors too that you wouldn't really expect for portraits. And so I'll be using even the bluish grays for the bounce light on her face, and yeah, it will just be amazing, and you guys will see that. I did make the mistake of checking their website for the other sets that they have, and I could cry at how beautiful the colors they have are. I don't think I've ever yearned for art supplies as much as I have when I looked at their website and looked at the sets that they have. I will say the one thing I think that I should mention is that they are more pricey than the other brands that I have mentioned, but that's because they are handmade and they're not mass produced. I usually am someone who will appreciate high quality art supplies, but I will always recommend a cheaper option if I can find them. But these are so special in the way they feel, the way they blend, and every set is curated to have colors that work so well together, yet not be predictable. So the entire package just screams luxury to me, and I will definitely be saving up to buy another one of their sets. And I also highly recommend them to people who maybe already have a set that they like and are wanting to go with more exciting colors. So be an amazing add-on to you guys' collection. Just check out their website, and I think you guys will thank me too. I just wanted you guys to look at how beautiful these colors look together. There are actually so many hues of light and dark colors that I could really play around with the color scheme. A lot of the colors that I would normally make more neutral, I used the bright pink for. There are purple and blue hues to the lighter colors, which I just love. There's so many things going on with the color palette in this, and that's just because there's so many colors in the set that I feel work together still. Like how the purple and blue used to the lighter colors. I think they make the warmer colors really stand out. I also got to play around with the darker colors too, since there are only a handful of dark colors and none of them are neutral. The darker colors do not look dull either. And by the way, the fact that the two darkest colors are almost complementary, they are dark green and a very bright and rich maroon. Because they're so different, even though they are the same in value, they actually make each other stand out, and they allowed me to create a lot of depth in this piece. So it's just one of the ways that I felt like the people who curated this set really did their thing, and I think it's so appreciated. So I do want to talk about the paper that I used because it kind of does affect the look of this piece. The one I used for this one is the Strathmore Ready Cut watercolor papers. While they are harder on my fingers because I used my hand to blend, especially on this one, I really like that you can still see the tooth on the paper on some areas, like especially toward the edges. I ended up really liking that look. That's why I decided to keep them like that. When I use these pastels on smooth paper, like I did for the swatches, they do blend butter smooth. The rougher texture towards the edges of this one are more of a creative choice. One thing that I don't include in my process videos, because I usually do them off camera, is sealing my pastel works. So in between multiple layers, I would use a sealing spray. I use the Kuelox brand to just seal in some of the layers that I already am happy with before I go over them. I think it's a very important step and I don't show it in my video, so I just wanted to mention it in case you guys want to know sort of the secret behind getting a lot of detail in these paintings. So just like for my last video, I will be using gouache for the finer details. This is mostly my Holbein and my Sui Gouache that I poured into half pans. And because it's gouache and I can mix my own colors, I just make sure that I get the exact color match to the colors that I was using, because I wanted the colors especially to stand out. I wanted to make sure that the gouache details don't take away from the soft pastel base. I still wanted the soft pastels to be the look that stands out in the painting, so just had to make sure that I got the color match right, just so I can get the piece to look more finished and look more polished. And I do want to go back to my last tip. When it comes to spraying, I did spray my almost finished soft pastel piece before I went over them with gouache, because if you don't do that, the powdery feel of the soft pastels will really just almost repel the gouache. So I wanted to mention that here too. Another thing that I wanted to make sure of when it comes to the gouache piece is that I didn't want to use any dark colors, any unnecessary dark colors, because I really like the greens and the maroons for the darkest colors. I wanted that to stand out, and so I made sure that even for the details on her eyes, that they just camouflage with the colors of the soft pastels. That is really it for this one. I'm extremely happy and extremely proud of this piece. I am even happier with the soft pastels. I think that the color set is gorgeous. I think that they blend the best out of all of the other soft pastels that I have. They are a little bit more expensive, but I think that they're so worth it. Something like that is subjective though, so I want to know if you guys think this set in particular is worth the $100 that they are priced at. I definitely think so, especially considering that they were handmade, but I know opinions may differ, so I want to know what you guys think in the comments. Please check out their other sets in their website, which I will be linking in the description. If you guys like this painting process, I do tutorials for stuff like this on my Patreon, where I do them in real time, no cutting, all explained in the video, and I do them every month on there. So I have years worth of painting tutorials, mostly focused on portraits, up on my Patreon. If you guys want to check it out, it will be linked in the description too. Once again, don't forget that the reference photo, this gorgeous one, is linked in my Pinterest board with all of my other reference photos. And yeah, that's it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to my patrons, especially for supporting me. And I will be seeing you guys again soon.